of their pure devotee for the benefit of neophyte devotees in various places around the world. To establish many deities was one of Srila Prabhupada's prime contributions as a world preacher. And when he would visit each temple, he would always stand reverently before the deities, taking their blessings, and then he would offer prostrated obeisances. Be humble, he would instruct the devotees. Always remember you are dealing with Krishna. And sometimes he would be unable to suppress his ecstatic symptoms of love for the deities. Through his representatives, his many disciples, he worshipped all these deities. But in the case of Radha Rasavihari, his involvement was more direct. Having taken India as his own managerial duty, he considered caring for this deity his specific responsibility. Prabhupada's fighting spirit to keep the land was so keen that he sometimes appeared to be fighting for fighting's sake. He sometimes even compared Mr. N to the demon Kamsa in Srimad Bhagavatam, who had repeatedly tried to kill Krishna. Just as Kamsa had employed many minor demons in his attempts to kill Krishna, so Mr. N had employed demoniac agents like lawyers, friends, and hoodlums. Krishna's killing of demons like Kamsa was his pastime, or lila. He enjoyed it. And Srila Prabhupada, as the servant of Krishna, was fully absorbed in this fighting. He was vigilant, militant. When Mr. N bluffed or frightened the devotees, causing them to back down, Prabhupada held his ground. He took naturally to the fight. Krishna and Krishna's mission were being challenged. Never before had Prabhupada been so threatened or met such active enemies. In New Delhi, when he had been selling his Back to Godhead magazines, he had often met with brusque words. And in America, people had ignored him and occasionally heckled him. But no one had seriously attempted to stop his preaching. Here, however, was a demon working actively to cheat him, to destroy his preaching, to disperse his disciples, and to displace his deity. He was forced to fight, and his disciples, if they were to understand his mood, would also have to fight. Prabhupada was acting as the protector and the parent of the deities and of ISKCON Bombay. As he had described in the Nectar of Devotion, many great devotees have an eternal relationship with Krishna as his protector. When as a child Krishna had fought the serpent Kaliya, Krishna's mother and father had been plunged into transcendental anxiety. They had seen their child entangled in the coils of the serpent, and fearing for Krishna's life, had wanted to protect him. The eternal mother and father of Krishna always worry that Krishna may meet with harm, and when danger appears to come, their natural anxiety increases many times. In this way, they show the most intense love for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's mood was to protect Radha Rasavihari and also his Krishna consciousness movement. Although he knew that Krishna was the supreme protector and that nobody could oppose his will, out of a protective desire to spread Krishna's glories, he feared that the demon Mr. N might harm Krishna. Okay, we can start tomorrow from page 163. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chayeva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nachta Praishva Bhadrishu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Okay, we're reading from Canto number 1, chapter number 15, and text number 32. I'll read Sanskrit, you can repeat. Nishamya Bhagavan Margam. Nishamya Bhagavan Margam. Samstham Yadu Kulasya Cha. Samstham Yadu Kulasya Cha. Svapathaya Matim Chakre. Svapathaya Matim Chakre. Nibritatma Yudhishthiraha. Nishamya Bhagavan Margam. Samstham Yadu Kulasya Cha. Svapadhaya Matim Chakre. Nibritatma Yudhishthiraha. Nishamya Bhagavan Margam. Samstham Yadu Kulasya Cha. Nishamya Bhagavan Margam. Samstam Yadu Kulasya Cha. Svapataya Matim Chakre. Nibritatma Yudhishthira. Nishamya Bhagavan Margam. Samstam Yadu Kulasya Cha. Svapataya Matim Chakre. Nishamya Bhagavan Margam. Samstam Yadu Kulasya Cha. Svapataya Matim Chakre. Nibritatma Yudhishthira. Anybody else? That's it. Okay. Nishamya, deliberating. Bhagavat, regarding the Lord. Margam, the ways of his appearance and disappearance. Samstham, and Yadu Kulasya, of the dynasty of King Yadu. Cha, also. Svaha, the abode of the Lord. Pathaya, on the way of. Matim, desire. Chakra, gave attention. Nibhrita Atma, lonely and alone. Yudhishthiraha, King Yudhishthir. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. Upon hearing of Lord Krishna's return to his abode, and upon understanding the end of the Yadu dynasty's earthly manifestation, Maharaj Yudhishthir decided to go back home, back to Godhead. Purport. Maharaj Yudhishthir also turned his attention to the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita after hearing about the Lord's departure from the vision of earthly people. He began to deliberate on the Lord's way of appearance and departure. The mission of the Lord's appearance and disappearance in the mortal universe is completely dependent on His supreme will. He is not forced to appear or disappear by any superior energy, as the living beings appear and disappear, being forced by the laws of nature. Whenever the Lord likes, he can appear himself from anywhere and everywhere without disturbing his appearance and disappearance in any other place. He is like the sun. The sun appears and disappears on its own accord at any place without disturbing its presence in other places. The sun appears in the morning in India without disappearing from the Western Hemisphere. The sun is present everywhere and anywhere, all over the solar system. But it so appears that in a particular place, the sun appears in the morning and also disappears at some fixed time in the evening. The time limitation even of the sun is of no concern. And so what to speak of the Supreme Lord, who is the creator and controller of the sun? Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that anyone who factually understands the transcendental appearance and disappearance of the Lord by his inconceivable energy becomes liberated from the loss of birth and death, and is placed in the eternal spiritual sky where the Vaikuntha planets are. There, such liberated persons can eternally live without the pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. In the spiritual sky, the Lord and those who are eternally engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are all eternally young, because there is no old age and disease, and there is no death. Because there is no death, there is no birth. It is concluded, therefore, that simply by understanding the Lord's appearance and disappearance in truth, one can attain the perfectional stage of eternal life. Therefore, Maharaj Yudhishthira also began to consider going back to Godhead. The Lord appears on the earth or any other mortal planet along with his associates, who live with him eternally. And the members of the Yadid family who were engaged in supplementing the pastimes of the Lord are no other than his eternal associates. And so also Maharaj Yudhishthira and his brothers and mother, etc. Since the appearance and disappearance of the Lord and his eternal associates are transcendental, one should not be bewildered by the external features of appearance and disappearance. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadanjikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first I want to ask for blessings from Hansarupa Prabhu, for all the senior devotees, from all the devotees here. So I may speak something beneficial, worthy to hear, and in line with Shastra. So let's see what will happen next. Oh, Hare Krishna Sundari. So basically, this text about appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna and how it's not the same with our appearance and disappearance, right? So we actually destined to take birth if you lived not really it's a saint life, right? So we cannot choose whether we want to take birth or we don't want to die, anything like that. But Krishna, he's not like that. And his appearance and disappearance, wherever he wants, he can do it. And it even says that he can appear in many different places simultaneously. For him, it's nothing, right? He doesn't have to choose where he wants to appear and when to disappear. And well, I was listening yesterday this lecture from Sankarshan Das. He's very nice Prabhupada's disciple, and he had nice realizations. So my lecture will be based on his lecture. So he said very interesting thing. I also been thinking about it a lot, many years. That usually, I'm thinking how, we've done something really stupid, right? That's why we're here. Even if you have a good life here, right? You already failed because you're in the material world, right? And I was thinking, at some point we were with Krishna, because even in Bhagavatam it says that, we're with Krishna, and then we just, we had a desire, we wanted to enjoy, and that's why Krishna agreed to bring us here, right? To let us go from the spiritual world. And, well, it's not really smart decision, but what to do? Krishna is very kind. And what Prabhu said in his lecture, that actually we all eternal associates of the Lord. It says at the end of the purport that, all the Yadu family, right, King Yudhishthir and the rest, they were all eternal associates with Krishna. And actually we all are, we just forgot about it. We're just so covered that, we're not, we don't even know about this. And even when we know it, we cannot really feel it because we're so contaminated, right? You can know something in your mind, but then you're like, how is it possible? If you, anyway. And he said that, that we're all eternal associates of Krishna, and it's a good thing to know. Well, let's see. Also, my Guru Maharaj says a lot that we don't really belong to this material world. And he usually says, what a relief that we don't even belong here. So we don't have to think when we struggle a lot about different things. We just don't belong here. We're not supposed to be here. We cannot experience happiness here. That's why we have to be, think about it, that we don't belong here. And it's like a bad dream. And he gave this very nice example about one person in Dallas, Texas, that he, he was a very rich man, and he was living in a good area, right? And then, at some point, he went for a walk, and he just lost his memory. He lost his memory, and he didn't remember anything. And he was just wandering around the city, and he couldn't remember how much money did he have, or he was rich, or he was, poor. He just didn't remember anything. And then for a couple of days it was going on, and after a few days, their friends happened to pass by in the car, and then they called him like, "Oh, George, how are you? Where are you going? Why you look like that?" And he's like, he couldn't recognize them, right? And they started telling him, "Oh, sit in the car, we'll bring you to your home, you don't remember, you have such a nice home and, business and whatever else he had." And he agreed, right? And then they started telling him who he really was, right? And it's really, these friends, they help us a lot. If they can actually tell you who you really are. Even if you just have no idea, right? And we can compare it to our spiritual position also, right? We have no idea who we are on a spiritual level, right? We identify ourselves so much with material body, so attached, right? And we don't even know who we are. And these friends are compared to spiritual master. That he actually knows who you are, and he knows how to really bring you to the point that you will be realized person, that you will know who you are. And there is also, you see, if we can, this George, right? He could choose not to trust also, his friends, right? He could just, wherever, I don't know you, and I don't want to sit in your car and all these things, right? But he decided to trust, and actually it was for his benefit. It compares that, we're so attached to this material world and this material body that we don't want to really give it up. We don't want to give it up, all our situation. We don't want to, and we don't want to get something what Krishna has for us, which is much, much more. In this situation with George even, right? Like he was, he was a poor man, right? Like he was just going on the streets. He didn't know who he was. And then their friends, they told him that, you actually have money and, you look nice and you're always clean and all these things, right? And it's like spiritual master tells you, you actually spiritual being. You don't belong to this material world, right? And we also have a choice to trust him or not to trust him. Right, and you see, it's interesting because we don't. It's very deep, You can say that, okay, I trust, right? But on a deeper level, you might not trust, because we've been hurt so many times, all the time, all the time. And then you met one person who really, wants for you something good, and he doesn't need anything in return, and we just cannot, it's hard just to. Believe in it, just to trust this person. Because, like, why I should trust this person? But if you really trust, he will really help. It's like, he will give you Krishna, and Krishna will give you thousands of times more. It's, it's like this material world, all our material attachments, right? Material body, if you think, how much it's worth, it's like nothing. What's the point of this material world? If you think about this, okay, food, sense gratification, right? It's nice for some time, right? But ultimately so much suffering, so it's not worthy even, it's worth like a penny, nothing. But you're so attached to this penny, you don't want to give it up. Even though, Krishna has for you thousands of millions of dollars. But because of attachment, we cannot really, we cannot give up a penny. We think it's all we need, all we have, all will make you happy, right? And let me see, where is going? Oh, he was telling a very interesting point about, this trust between disciple and guru. It's actually mutual, right? It's not only that, your spiritual master trusts you and you have to trust him. And actually, a spiritual master, for our own benefit, he tries to kind of get this trust, He tries to make you think that, he's worthy to trust. But why? For your own benefit, he like, it's not for his benefit. Usually, like in a relationships, right, like mundane relationships, you just make person trust you just because you want to use this person at some point, it's just like that. But spiritual master is not like that, right? And he really tries hard to get our trust, right, only to help you. It's I don't know, it's just high level of, advancement. It's really, really amazing. And we don't even think, about other people when we, anyway, well. And yeah, it says that when we, when he wins our trust, we will, he knows that we will follow his instructions very carefully. And it will, actually mean something for the disciple. So it's worthy, And ultimately, of course, he knows that this exact thing will lead us to feel, to not feel so much stress in the material world. And he knows the ultimate goal of it. We might not see it, right, when he gives us different instructions, but he knows that, ultimately it's good for you. It's like a doctor, right? And or even like a friends, right? When your friends or mentors, they see situation from a different perspective, right? They can advise you something, but sometimes you cannot believe. Really, it's it's the right way to act, it's the right way to do, and this is yes, you will be happy ultimately. You will see, right? And we have to trust. If you really trust, your spiritual master, everything will be extremely amazing and extremely, there will be no suffering, even in material world. So we have to learn how to trust. Let's see. This is one verse in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. It says, only the person who has unflinching faith in spiritual master and words of Bhagavad Gita, only to them the secrets of Vedas are revealed. So we have to not only have faith in the spiritual master, but also in the words of Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna is the ultimate spiritual master. And all our spiritual masters, what they talk about and what they teach us, it's all based on Bhagavad Gita, obviously, right? It's all based on Krishna's teachings. So you have to have unflinching faith. And when you have it, you see all the secrets of Vedas are revealed. And from this verse, we see that, only by understanding of appearance and disappearance of Krishna, you don't have to even understand anything more, only if you at least, put a little bit faith in it, that, okay, appearance and disappearance, he appears not like us, you will already be liberated. And spiritual master can reveal it to you easily. Yes, but we have to have really faith and trust like that. And and free of sufferings of material world, to free yourself from sufferings of material world, you have to learn how to have complete faith in your spiritual master. This is a secret of success. Well, if you have any thoughts, you can say right now. Sukanti. So it says that faith, that's what's right for me, doesn't leave room for this kind of regret or confusion about it. Yeah, that's nice reflection. I remember, you see, His Holiness Kadamba Swami was talking a lot yesterday, right, about the faith, about that, we have to really, why are you doing even something? Because you have faith. And about this, weird dressing, right? Why are we dressing like that? Because you have faith in something. Yeah. And of course, at least myself, I'm not on that level, just to have so much faith in Krishna and, all these exalted personalities, right? But, you can have complete faith in your spiritual master, right? And it will be enough. It will be enough because ultimately it will lead you, for this understanding. Everything will be revealed to you, so, yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Suppose you respect your parents, but you feel it's not enough, and you want a spiritual master. What should you do? What would you suggest?
So again?
If, say me, I sort of respect my parents, but I think it's not enough.
Not enough people to respect, or not enough respect to parents?
Spiritual master.
Yeah.
But I know there's things that maybe we were ignorant of in that state. So I wondered about, how Krishna could appear and reappear in our family.
Hmm.
If I'm aware, you want to be like aware when he's there.
Well, you know, parents, like you see, you coming from Indian background, you know even more than me about these things, right? That in Indian culture, in Vedic culture, parents were very respected. You know, I don't know, in Russia we don't really see it very often, unfortunately, right? But it's normal. You know that actually father is considered to be a first guru for the child, which is, you know, spiritual master, right? And even, you know, even, okay, you know, maybe they're not whatever advanced, maybe even not in Krishna consciousness, right? Maybe they, from your perspective, did something not really pleasant to you or to someone else, right? But, you know, because of them, right? Because they gave you some kind of knowledge already, right? You are who you are right now. And it's very important to respect that. Because, you know, you have so many like good qualities we all have, right? Like, and parents, they taught us, maybe even not directly, but by their example, or even by their bad example. You know, if parents, you know, so-called bad, right? You still learn from them, maybe what not to do. You see, so parents definitely needs to be respected a lot, because you know, you cannot really, okay, for example, you don't respect parents, and then, you know, you meet your spiritual master and you're like, okay, I'm ready to respect him. It doesn't work like that. You know, it actually works like you have to learn how to respect each person, everyone, no matter devotee or non-devotee. You see, we go on book distribution, and it's based on respect of other person, no matter how she or he looks like, no matter what they even tell us, right? You respect them. What to speak about your parents, right? It's much more dear people to you than random people outside. And again, you never know. You never know who these people were in the past lives and why they came to you. You know, yeah, we have to respect everyone. We have to learn how to do this. If it's answered your questions. I mean, if that answered your question, you can.
But like, you know, I think what I meant to say was like, I think even though they mean well, like I still want like a spiritual master to live a healthier life, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even though, because they might have been taught one way about, like, you know, eating meat, or like they might not agree with
Mm-hmm.
certain things that is done this way.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still my parents, and I take the good from them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is good also, you know, politic, to take good and to reject bad. Yes, because, you know, spiritual master is your ultimate father. It's your spiritual father, and this is who you really are. You're spiritual. Right? Parents, we can choose them. They come usually, you know, when you have to work out different things with your karma, right? You're going to choose where you can be born, if you think about it. You know, parents, they can pray for you, right, for the soul, but you as a soul, you cannot really choose where you want to go. It just, whatever you've done already here, you just have to see it and wait, like that. And then you're born in this family, and, you know, you have to deal with this, right? But you need a spiritual master. Absolutely, you need a spiritual master. I believe it even says that if your, you know, father, whatever, becomes spiritual master, he cannot really initiate you, because it's not, right? Have you ever heard? Like a spiritual master, if it happened to be your father, he cannot initiate family members.
He cannot or can?
I don't remember. He cannot. Yeah. I've heard anything, you know, something like that. Basically, you know, if your father, you know, he becomes very advanced and he becomes spiritual master, right? He still cannot give you initiation. He gives you instructions and all these things, but he can't give initiation. So it's important to actually surrender to the spiritual master who, you know, like, not your father. But it doesn't mean you don't have to follow his good advice. You know, it's also spiritual master, Shiksha Guru, not different from Diksha Guru. Anything else? No? Okay. Thank you so much for kind attention. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki,